The Wasteland is a poem by T.S. Eliot that was first published in 1922. It is widely regarded as one of the most important and influential works of modernist poetry. The poem is a complex and fragmented meditation on the state of modern society, exploring themes of disillusionment, despair, and spiritual crisis. The poem is divided into 5 sections, each of which is filled with references to literature, mythology, and history. The first section, The Burial of the Dead, begins with the famous line, "April is the cruelest month." The section describes a world in which everything is dead or dying, and the narrator struggles to find meaning in the midst of the decay. The second section, A Game of Chess, is a dialogue between 2 characters who are unable to connect with each other. The section is filled with allusions to Shakespeare's play Antony and Cleopatra, as well as the myth of Philomela. The section ends with a sense of despair, as the characters are unable to find any meaning or connection in their lives. The third section, The Fire Sermon, is a meditation on desire and the inability to find satisfaction. The section is filled with sexual imagery, including references to the Buddha's fire sermon and the story of Tiresias. The section ends with the image of a river, which symbolizes the passage of time and the inability to escape the cycle of desire and suffering. The fourth section, Death by Water, is a short and enigmatic section that describes the death of Phlebas, a sailor who has been drowned at sea. The section is filled with images of water, which symbolizes both the source of life and the destructive power of nature. The final section, What the Thunder Said, is a collage of different voices and images, including references to the Hindu god Shiva, the tarot, and the Bible. The section ends with a sense of hope, as the narrator calls for a new beginning and the possibility of spiritual renewal. The Wasteland is a deeply pessimistic work that reflects the sense of disillusionment and despair that was felt by many writers and artists in the aftermath of World War I. The poem is filled with images of death and decay, and it portrays a world that has lost its spiritual center. One of the most interesting aspects of the poem is the way in which Eliot uses fragmentation and allusion to create a sense of dislocation and disorientation. The poem is filled with references to other works of literature and mythology, but these references are often obscure and difficult to interpret. This fragmentation reflects the sense of cultural and spiritual disintegration that Eliot saw in the modern world. Another important aspect of the poem is its exploration of the themes of sexuality and desire. The poem is filled with sexual imagery and references to fertility rites and ancient myths. These images reflect the sense of spiritual emptiness and the desire for transcendence that was felt by many modernist writers. The Wasteland is also notable for its use of different voices and perspectives. The poem is not narrated by a single speaker, but rather by a variety of different voices and characters. These voices include the voices of historical figures, fictional characters, and even mythological figures. This use of multiple perspectives reflects the sense of cultural and spiritual fragmentation that Eliot saw in the modern world. In addition to its exploration of cultural and spiritual themes, The Wasteland is also notable for its use of language. The poem is filled with complex and elusive language, and it incorporates a wide range of different forms and styles. These styles include everything from blank verse to free verse, from rhyming couplets to prose poetry. In conclusion, The Wasteland is a complex and influential work of modernist poetry that explores the disillusionment and despair felt by many in the aftermath of World War I. Through its use of fragmentation, allusion, and multiple voices, the poem reflects the sense of cultural and spiritual disintegration that Eliot saw in the modern world. The poem's exploration of themes such as sexuality, desire, and spiritual emptiness have made it a significant work in the development of modernist literature. The poem's language, which incorporates a wide range of forms and styles, has also been influential in shaping the development of modern poetry. Despite its complexity and fragmentation, The Wasteland has remained a popular and influential work of literature. Its depiction of a world in crisis continues to resonate with readers, and its exploration of cultural and spiritual themes has made it a touchstone for subsequent generations of writers and artists. One of the most interesting aspects of The Wasteland is the way in which it incorporates a wide range of cultural references and allusions. The poem draws on everything from classical mythology to contemporary popular culture, and its use of allusion creates a sense of cultural depth and complexity. For example, in the section The Burial of the Dead, Eliot references the biblical story of the resurrection of Lazarus, as well as the works of Shakespeare and Dante. In the section A Game of Chess, Eliot draws on the myth of Philomela and the character of Cleopatra from Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. These allusions add layers of meaning to the poem, and they reflect the sense of cultural fragmentation that Eliot saw in the modern world. The poem's exploration of themes such as sexuality and desire is also notable. The poem is filled with sexual imagery and references to fertility rites and ancient myths. These images reflect the sense of spiritual emptiness and the desire for transcendence that was felt by many modernist writers. For example, in the section The Fire Sermon, Eliot describes a scene of sexual encounter between a man and a woman. The scene is filled with allusions to the Buddha's Fire Sermon, which is a Buddhist text that emphasizes the importance of overcoming desire in order to achieve enlightenment. The section ends with the image of a river, which symbolizes the passage of time and the inability to escape the cycle of desire and suffering. The poem's language is also notable for its complexity and elusiveness. The poem incorporates a wide range of forms and styles, including blank verse, free verse, rhyming couplets, and prose poetry. This use of different forms and styles creates a sense of fragmentation and dislocation that reflects the sense of cultural and spiritual disintegration that Eliot saw in the modern world. For example, in the section The Burial of the Dead, Eliot uses a mixture of free verse and blank verse to create a sense of dislocation and fragmentation. The poem's language is filled with obscure references and allusions, which add to the sense of complexity and disorientation. In conclusion, The Wasteland is a significant work of modernist poetry that explores the sense of cultural and spiritual disintegration that was felt in the aftermath of World War I. Through its use of fragmentation, allusion, and multiple voices, the poem reflects the sense of cultural and spiritual fragmentation that Eliot saw in the modern world. The poem's exploration of themes such as sexuality, desire, and spiritual emptiness have made it a significant work in the development of modernist literature. Its language, which incorporates a wide range of forms and styles, has also been influential in shaping the development of modern poetry. Despite its complexity and fragmentation, The Wasteland remains a popular and influential work of literature that continues to resonate with readers today.
We hope you are enjoying the content on the library channel. Our team is dedicated to bringing you the best book summary, recommendations, and literary discussions on YouTube. If you are finding our content helpful, we would greatly appreciate it if you could take a moment to like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts or suggestions, and subscribe to our channel. This will help us grow and continue to provide you with more great content in the future. Thank you for your support and happy reading.